This is a literature passage from the SAT reading section. And that means that our approach is going to be slightly different than it might be for some of the other passage types. As before, we're still going to use the SQ3R structure, so survey, question, read, recite, review, but we're not going to do much of a pre-read for the passage. I'm just going to look at the blurb, figure out what the blurb's about, and then I'm not even going to bother skimming the passage. Because literary passages don't really have topic sentences the way that argumentative or informative essay passages do. So what we're going to do instead is take a look at the blurb to see if we can just sort of get a vague idea of who the passage is about and what happens in the plot of the passage, and then take a spin through the questions, again, very quick, and then we'll move on to the next video, which is going to be an active reading step. So here's the blurb. And the blurb is very important. Don't skip the blurb because it gives you all sorts of important information. So this passage is adapted from Amit Chaudhry, A Strange and Sublime Address. Copyright 1991 by Amit Chaudhry. A 10-year-old boy named Sandeep travels with his mother, his aunt, Mamima, and his uncle, Choto Mama, to visit family in Calcutta, India. All right, so already we've got at least 4 characters: Sandeep, his mother, his aunt, Mamima, and his uncle, Choto Mama. And it takes place in India. Cool. That's our blurb. Let's not even look at the passage. Let's move over to the questions. All right, question 1. According to the passage, the old man was standing on the veranda because... Cool. So for this, I'm going to underline veranda, and then later as we're going through the passage, when we come across the veranda, we'll just circle it. This is just asking us why the old man was standing on the veranda. Okay, question number 2. In the passage, the yogurt and the sweetmeats are compared to... Cool. So again, this is another keyword kind of question. So as we go through the passage, we'll be looking for yogurt and sweetmeats, the mentions of that. Question 3, as used in lines 33 and 35, air mostly means... Okay, let me dip over to the passage, look for lines 33 and 35. Okay, there's line 30, 31, 32, 33, air. Going to underline that. 34, 35, air again. And that's question 3. I'm going to put that in the sidebar. All right. Question 4, the character's behavior during the gift giving. Okay, so we're going to be on the lookout for when gift giving happens for question 4. Question 5 is looking for textual evidence for the answer to question 4. So we'll be on the lookout for that as we go through. Question 6, the description of Choto Mama and the son's interaction mainly serves to... Okay, this is going to be a question about the purpose of the description of something. So we're going to be... This is a craft question, so we're going to be doing a close read when Choto Mama and the son interact. Over the course of the passage, Sandeep comes to view the adults as something. So view signals to me that this is going to be a POV question. That is to say, a point of view question. Because we know from the blurb that Sandeep was the character who was mentioned first. He's probably the protagonist of the story. So we're going to be looking for the way his point of view changes, or an opinion that he expresses. Similarly, in question 8, Sandeep would be most critical of which action in the passage. Okay, so we're going to be looking again for things that Sandeep has opinions about, maybe critical opinions about. Question 9, which lines from the passage most strongly suggest that India has experienced social change? Okay, so we're looking for proof of social change in India, and lines that indicate. And finally, a vocab question, as used in line 61, impression most nearly means something. So let's hop over to line 61 and underline it. There's line 60, there's line 61, and there's the word impression. Let me just mark this with question 10, and then that's it. Now look, the purpose of this step is not to keep all of those questions actively in your head at all times. Do not feel like you have a responsibility to memorize these questions, but I will say, it is really impressive what your subconscious holds on to. The purpose of this is just to survey and get a broad map of what the questions are asking. It's not to memorize the question. So if that's a concern of yours, I would urge you to put it aside. I don't know that there's much else that we can do with this passage right now, except to just dive right into the reading. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'll see you in the next video.